So I'm not a psychiatrist, but as a health and fitness and wellness coach, I do find that I am a practical psychologist because so much of people's success and failure comes down to their mindset, their psychology, and whether they self-sabotage. And in this episode of the podcast, I'm going to share with you guys two questions you can ask yourself in the moment of a decision that can help you to preemptively strike and stop a self-sabotage pattern. Tune in and take notes.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
So when it comes to looking amazing, feeling amazing, performing at your best, being your best, most athletic self, being your best version as a parent, as a spouse, as a career person, being an athlete, being your best, there are basic prescriptions that work really, really well for everybody. And if you're eating in a healthy way, if you're exercising regularly, you should absolutely expect that great things are going to happen for you. You plant those seeds, you get an amazing harvest of goodness in your life. But what if your pattern is to self-sabotage and you know it? In this episode of the podcast, we'll dig into what approach you can take to stop a pattern of self-sabotage and break through to the other side and live your best life, look your best, feel your best, perform at your best. When we talk about self-sabotage, this can manifest a few different ways. It can manifest as procrastination, putting off actions that you know you should take. It could manifest as perfectionism, where you set this impossible standard for yourself and it becomes a reason to put things off. You end up feeling ashamed. It can lead to depression. It can hold you down. You're not meeting an impossibly high standard. It can manifest as self-medication. And this is the one that I think in a health and fitness context seems to come up the most, where people are they're dealing with this constant battle between wanting to be successful and maybe some internal scripts that say they can't be, or they had a rough day. They want to soothe themselves with drugs, alcohol, food, some other kind of bad decision. So as a practical psychologist, myself being a coach and working with lots of people and seeing patterns that lead to success, lead to failure, the pattern of self-sabotage is one of the things that can create a perpetual obstacle to you breaking through certain sticking points. And I listened to a very powerful speech from my favorite pastor, Andy Stanley, recently. And he talked about how leaders can avoid self-sabotage by asking themselves two questions when you come up to a situation where you can either make a good decision or a bad decision, a decision that you know aligns with your goals, or the short-term, easy, temporary answer to the question, the thing that's the more convenient thing to do in the moment, the thing that you feel like doing in the moment, but you know that you shouldn't because you know you're going to regret it later. In those moments of decision, Andy Stanley proposed that a good thing to do is just take a moment, pause for just a moment, and ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? Or why do I want to do this? Why do I want to have that drink? Why do I want to eat that food? Why am I going to this restaurant? Because when you begin to ask these questions, you can get to the root cause that might be leading to the self-sabotage. So the questions are, first, why am I wanting to do this? Or why am I leaning towards doing this? And then after you get your initial answer, you'll get your first answer to that question will be a very surface level answer. It'll be a fairly superficial one. The important second question to ask is, and why do I want that? And you can ask that second question, and why do I want that, several times till you get to the deeper root meaning, deeper root cause of your desire to have this drink, eat this food, skip the gym, do this thing that I know is going to hurt my relationship with myself, my progress, whatever it is. And I've found that when you ask those questions several times in that moment of decision, there's a handful of deeper reasons that seem to come up a lot. I want to share some of those deeper reasons that may resonate with you, and maybe you've heard yourself even say these things when you are in those moments of decision or introspection. So why am I doing this really? One reason might be you say, I deserve a reward. This is one. And it's born out of the thought process that if I do something good, I do well in school, I do well at work, I went to the gym today, I dealt with a rough work day, and I deserve a reward, is born out of the idea that food should be used as a way of rewarding yourself. But you're not a dog, you're not a seal, and giving yourself poor quality, self-destructive foods is actually not a reward. It's actually a punishment of yourself, which, by the way, I think is a very, very powerful second, deeper reason why you might be self-sabotaging. I deserve punishment. Or, to put it in different terms, I feel unworthy of something better for myself. And a lot of this is often related to low self-esteem. People who have a negative self-image or low self-esteem are very vulnerable to self-sabotage because they will tend to behave in ways that confirm their negative beliefs about themselves. So the closer they get to succeeding, they become uncomfortable and they'll do something to sabotage their success. Like maybe you've been told your whole life that you'd fail, and it is hard for you to act in ways that are not congruent with that because you have somehow bought into that image. It helps turn these negative, what's what I'm looking for, images of yourself into a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the idea that I deserve punishment, I didn't conduct myself at work the way that I wanted to, I didn't go to the gym or whatever, therefore I should punish myself with this drink, with this food. I should skip the gym because of this thing that I did that I shouldn't have done. I didn't do what I said I was going to do at work, and now my work is not done. It's 5 o'clock, and I should stay at work and punish myself and work and skip the gym. Any of these patterns of I deserve punishment are a self-destructive and self-sabotage pattern that you can preemptively stop by being aware of this as a root cause. Here's another very powerful one. Someone expects me to fill in the blank. Somebody expects me to fill in the blank. My friends expect me to drink. My mom expects me to eat this really food that she made for me. My colleagues expect me to go to this restaurant where there's nothing healthy as a part of the social hour. Like any of these reasons are they're a ticket to self-sabotaging behavior. And you need to recognize that the expectations of others do not need to become your mandate for self-destructive behavior. Somebody's expectations of you do not need to become your undoing, your destruction, the hole in your boat. It is okay to break others' expectations if it is in your best interest, if it is in the best interest of your health, your wellness, your emotional health, your physical health. it is okay to not act in accordance with their expectations, because anybody who really loves you and cares for you wants you to be healthy and happy and would want you to make wise decisions that don't self-sabotage. So if you identify this pattern of, I'm feeling this social pressure or expectation to behave in this self-destructive way, you need to become aware of that and avoid that at all costs. Here's another one. I had a bad day and I feel bad. This is another one of the core thought processes that lead to the self-medication, self-sabotage. I had a bad day. I feel bad right now, and I want to feel better, and I'm going to use food as a quick fix, a short-term high to make myself feel better. I see this one often, and it is one of the most self-destructive, self-sabotaging thought processes. The idea that food is going to be my escape from these negative feelings that I'm feeling right now. Food is not a good way of medicating these feelings. There are many other alternative approaches. Meditation, go out and get some sunlight, exercise, take a walk around the block, talk to a friend, watch a comedy routine on YouTube. Laughter is the best medicine. Food is not a good medicine for self-medicating bad feelings. This is a major red flag you should be aware of if you feel that, well, I feel bad right now. I want to go out and say, screw it. I want to go, somebody hurt my feelings. My spouse said something. Somebody at work said something. My friend said something. I had a bad day at work. I feel bad right now. I want to run to food as a solution. Interrupt that pattern by becoming aware of that root cause. And then another one, and one that can be really, really impactful for a lot of people, is any kind of childhood trauma. And this can manifest in a lot of different ways. And if this is you, if it's your story, if you are aware that you have some sort of childhood trauma, dramatic or troubled relationships with parents, other people in the family, this is a situation, or any of these really, could be a very good reason to go and actually work with a licensed clinical psychiatrist, some sort of therapist, to work through these issues, because they can be tremendously impactful and lead to persistent patterns of self-sabotage. But again, your strategy in the moment is, when you're at that crossroads where you're like, I can make a decision to do something bad and dumb and self-harming, or I can make a decision to do something that is in alignment with my higher purpose, my higher vision for myself, my best life, the goals that I have written, my health and fitness goals. Take a moment, take a beat, ask myself, why am I really doing this? Then why do I feel like that? Why is that important to me? Try to get to that root cause, and you can begin to interrupt these patterns that hold you back. And I hope that you do. And thank you now for tuning in to join us for this conversation today. If this has been valuable to you, feel free to like or share or subscribe. For now, I thank you for the gift of your time and your attention. This is Coach G signing out. I'll see you guys in the next episode of the podcast.